Hello, everyone. How you doing? I am Stick MC, and I am a console gamer. I play on Xbox One, not even a Series X or whatever you call it. I'm a Dead by Daylight game light play. Wow. I play Dead by Daylight, and I'm a solo queue survivor more often than not. Over the weekends, I play with my brother. It's how we spend time together. It's how we hang out. Um, so to start this video, I just kind of want to be open. I would at best call myself a casual gamer. So you can take anything I say, however you want, based on that knowledge. And I'm just trying to be open and forthright about that data. But then that also means, the general theme of this whole post is about how people look at data. And the fact that you can't just ignore any one person's data, and neither can you only go by any one person's data. I'll get into that a little bit more later, but I wanted to be real open. I consider myself a survivor main, but I'm not very good. I keep my stats, and as of this moment, I have let me look. I have a 44% escape rate. And that is without counting games where someone DCs or counting games where someone kills himself on hooks. So those are just pieces of data, because that lets me tell you why I'm even making any videos, or why I started streaming on, I stream on Twitch, and then I post my videos or some of my videos on YouTube, Stick MC 2005 or Stick MC with no C in YouTube. And I started doing this because a thing happened. Dead by Daylight released their statistics after the patch update. And I saw a lot of streamers, and I love a whole bunch of streamers. I think True Talent is the most insightful and probably the best killer man in the game. I think Otstarva is the best streamer of the game. I love Dowsey. My personal favorite is Hybrid Panda. And that's just to name a few. I couldn't do them all justice. But I saw that a lot of eyebrows got raised, and then there was some debate, and I didn't necessarily understand the debate. There was a lot of heat over how certain things were ranked, and I think part of it was based on the manner in which the stats were done. I think there might be some clarity issues. The debate is, hey, you can have a really high kill rate and a really low win rate. And I just want to use this to show you that is mathematically impossible. Just to help you understand the kill rate based on what I've been able to understand. And, if you work for the devs, or you have some contrary data, I'm open to contrary data, but I want it to be actual data, not what, this is what I think. It's just simple math. So if I play 25 games, I face 100 survivors, because that's 4 times 25. So that means in that game, if I have a 60% kill rate, that means I killed 60 out of the 100 survivors I faced. Let's just fix my grammar there. So let's say I have 15 4Ks. That means out of 25 games, I had 15 4Ks. And then, that means I got frog stomped for the next 10 games. And I would feel a kind of way about it. The point is, though, 15 divided by 25 is a 60% win rate. So there are other permutations. You maybe have 111, whatever. But if you do the math, you cannot divide 60 by 2 and get a number that's less than 25. For you to have a 60% kill rate and divide by 2, you would have had to play at least 30 games. So you can't have a 60% kill rate and a 20% win rate. Now, if you go down here and you do some math, it will slide. For instance, you can have a 100% win rate and not have a 60. You can have a 100% win rate and not have a 100% kill rate. And you can have like, you can have a 50% kill rate and maybe a 45% win rate. Those are things that could happen, but at whatever the shift is, whatever the variation is, it's most certainly not that drastic. It's most certainly not so extreme that you could get a high kill rate and that low of a win rate. So I don't know, maybe I'll do some math and show some other people, but I wanted to alleviate that because that might be the first source of where that frustration is. And then the next one is this: a lot of streamers, when they reacted to it, not a single one of the streamers I saw brought up their statistics and said, well, Sadako is the #2 killer according to the game, but look at my statistics. I beat Sadako every time I played her. Not a single person said that. But a whole lot of them said like, oh, Sadako is not that strong. She can't possibly do that well. This is terrible. This is fake news. I don't know, whatever accusation you want to make. The most I hear is, well, I play her all the time. And look at this one game where I beat Sadako. Well, I mean, good for you. You beat her that one game, but they're not looking at that one game. They're looking at, they're looking at the whole of it. And so that leads me to my next point. I'm just one guy and I'm not that great. I have a lot of streamers who I love, but they are also individual human beings. And in science, in statistics, in data, there is no single person who accurately represents a whole group. You have to look at a significant percentage. So Steam, there are some 40, between 20 and 40,000 people playing, and no one person can represent 20,000 people or 40,000 people. And that's just Steam. That doesn't include console players like me or on PlayStation. It doesn't include any other, manner in which you can play the game. And this data measures everybody, and you do have to measure everybody. And then the data measuring the 5% measures the 5%. So if you're going to compare the stats and you consider yourself a top 5% guy, then you need to compare your data to the 5% data. And if you like me and you consider yourself an average guy, then you need to compare your data against the average data. So I was like, well, everyone's debating on what it is, but everyone's debating by opinion. Everyone's debating by, their own personal tier list or whatever. And I realized no one's debating this science with science. They're debating their science with emotion or passive observation. And that's just not how science works. So I decided, hey, can killers hold up? I wanted to put myself in the worst position, in the worst situation, and see how well I do. So what that led to was this challenge where I played 100 games of Trapper with no perks and no add-ons to see how I would hold up. How would I do? No support, no map offerings, nothing. The only thing I can bring is blood point offerings. So that led me to this experiment that I conducted. And I am now about to share that data with all of you. So these are my statistics, and this is as of the 6.1.0 update in July 2022. So again, full disclosure, before I started this challenge, the way I prefer to play killer, the fun way for me to play killer is I try very hard to hook every single survivor twice and then slug them all and then let them get up and let them escape. To me, I'm like, well, first off, that's high skill. If you can beat everyone, slug everyone, and they know they're dead, and then you let them go, they know you won. But then you let them go, and then everyone had a good time. So my MMR, when I started this, was absolutely like bottom of the barrel. I might as well have just bought a new account. So as you can see, I did really, really well. 6-0, 8-1. It took a minute for my MMR to catch up with where I'm at. However, after, I don't know, after about 35 games, it started getting real. I started, not having winning records. I started having losing streaks. So whatever my MMR is now, it's clearly better than it was. So I played all these games with Trapper, and I kept all the stats. I tracked my hooks, I tracked my kills. See, I got frog stomped on this game. I tracked how many survivors escaped. If someone DC'd, I noted it. However, I did still count the game because I've never seen a streamer when someone killed himself. Now maybe they're like, oh, I'll be nice and let them go, but I've never seen them like, I don't count this game. Again, I'm trying to follow this logic of I'm playing as ruthlessly, as harshly, as meanly as I can in order to get this win. So I actually played 101 games, but believe it or not, on my 100th game, I disconnected. I didn't like purposefully DC. I just lost my connection as I had 3 people in the basement and I downed the 4th person. So I felt a kind of way. I ended up losing my actual 100th game, but I didn't count the one where I'm the one who DC'd because I felt that would be debatable. So here are my final stats. I finished 15, 27, and 16. So 57 wins, 27 losses, 16 ties. So 16 2 kills, 57 games where I killed 3 or more, and 27 games where 1 or more 2 or more player. Nope, I'm wrong. Either I got 1 kill and that's where 1 or 0 kills, that's where those came from. So 3 or more, less than 2, and only 2. That's kind of where that data comes from. So what ended up happening is, believe it or not, out of 400 survivors, I killed 253. So that's 63. So I had a 63% kill rate with Trapper and a 57% win rate with Trapper. If you watch the game, you can watch these on my stream. I did not record all 100 games because when I first started this, it was just kind of a nice idea, a nifty thing. I was really just like, well, I wonder how I would do. I wonder, all these other people who I respect, people who I look to for advice and guidance on how to play better. Some of them were saying like, this data is just stupid, it's bad. And I'm like, well, I hear you, but like you're just saying words. And I want to look at data. So I went and I acquired actual data, not 10 games, not one night, not one day, 100 games across many, many days where I played 1 to 3 games a night or 1 to 4 games a night just to see how it would do, because real data and real science is done over time. So if you don't have to take my word for it, I think I filmed from game 94 all the way to game 100. I am, however, tracking every game because now I've moved on. I moved on from Trapper to Wraith, and every game I played, you can watch, you can see how I play, and you can see the data for itself. So this is data that people can dispute. This is data that people can research. This is actual scientific data that people can track and follow. So my disclaimers. I already talked to you about my low MMR. I already told you I consider myself a survivor main, so all those things happen. And again, remember the whole premise, I'm playing as sweaty and evil and wicked as I can. I don't have any add-ons, I don't have any perks, I don't have any of that other stuff. What I know I got is I can camp and I can tunnel. And what might be true is Trapper isn't 63%. Trapper isn't 63%. Trapper is camping and tunneling is 63%. Although I didn't camp and tunnel that whole time. So for me, I played as sweaty as I could, and I did everything I thought I had to do to get the kill, which again is not my favorite. It's not the way I want to do it. It's not how I enjoy it, but the idea, the goal is to really test, to really try. And people who are trying that hard, they're going to try that hard. They're going to do whatever it takes. So what I learned about Trapper, 3 gens help. 3 gens are everything with Trapper. If I can lock down my 3 gen, I'm probably going to win. And if I can't lock down a 3 gen, I'm probably going to lose. It's not going to matter. I feel what I've learned, and if I'm a killer main of any kind, and like I said, I'm not, but I played Trapper when I played the game. So I had a pretty good understanding of Trapper. I had a pretty good knowledge on how he worked. So I was always, if I understood any killer, if I was going to do well with any killer, it was going to be this killer. So now, what else I learned is he's very map dependent. So if I loaded into a big map, if I loaded into a large game, I felt nervous. I felt nervous already, like, oh, this is a big map. I can't get a good 3 gen. I don't know if he's map dependent, because if I got a 3 gen and a basement, I'm going to dominate, especially if I'm playing altruistic survivors. So I felt pretty good if I got a good 3 gen, even if I'm on a big map, because by using generators, you can use the generators to invalidate the size of the map. So yeah, I can play in Red Forest. I can play on the Crow map and still do well, because I have shrunk the size of the map by reducing where the survivors can go to do generators. And this game is based on generators. But I will say that Trapper is not as good at camping as I originally thought. There are several games where I got on a hook and I was camping, and a well-coordinated group of survivors, they didn't care. They just swept in. One guy took the hit, another guy ran off. So one thing I learned in this experiment as a survivor is if the Trapper has the survivor in the basement, that guy's dead. However, if the Trapper doesn't have a way to limit where the survivors can come from to get the save, you can get them out. You got to be coordinated, but it's possible. But there were several games, even some of the ones on film, where I'm sitting there camping and the server's like, whatever, I'll get him anyway. And I felt a kind of way about it. It wasn't as good as I thought. So before I go to my concluding thoughts, I want to go back to the statistics. This is my data, and I actually published my data. I made a print, and I'm going to post it somewhere. I don't quite know where I'm going to post it yet, but hopefully in this post somehow. But these are my data. These are my games. I tracked in splits, so you can see how the split went, and you can see how the hey, this was a 50% split. This is how it affected my overall stats, and this is kind of where I'm going. And now I'm already working on Wraith. No perks, no add-ons. I played 33 games so far. I'm going to go to this last split. So I'm looking at right now, after 32 games, there are 33 I played it. So if you want to add it, you can. But I'm 15, 10, and 7. The way I played with Trapper over here, hey, my MMR is better. Whatever it was, it's higher than it was. And whatever it is now, wins are a lot harder to come by. But of all the killers in the game, the two I fear most are Huntress and Wraith. I am not good. I also am terrified of playing Nurse. Again, I acknowledge that if you play on a computer and you are killed, Nurse might be way easier. But if you want to have a good time, just play on console for like a day, a week. Nurse on console is so very, very different. But you know what? I'm going to practice. I'm going to do my best. So those are the three I fear to play with, and Wraith is one of them. So if I get a 50% win rate with Wraith, I'm going to feel pretty good. But now I want to take it back to something, because there's one more observation I want to make and a statement. This kill rate and that win rate, this is counter to his statistics, even on top MMR. This kill rate and this win rate, no matter where you go, is very high. That's not me saying I'm great. That's me saying I am performing well above what other trappers typically do. I'm going to perform well below what other nurses do. I promise. But I did that with no perks and no add-ons. I won. The biggest problem, in my opinion, with Dead by Daylight is the polarizing nature of Dead by Daylight. I say this a lot when I'm streaming. You can play 10 games and win 10 games. And then you play that one game where you get frog stomped. And I don't care if it's a Swift or not. It doesn't really matter to me. I win or I lose. The reasons why I won or lost, I can look and reflect, but I'm going to look at what I did first. I'm going to be like, well, you know, that chase was bad, or I entertained this shack chase too long, or something of that sort. But there were games where, even splits, where I'd have a losing streak and I'd really be like angry. I'd be mad. And then I'd look at my dad. I'm like, wait, hold on. I've won 57% of the games I played. Why am I mad? The answer to that question is no one likes to lose bad. And that's, if you're a survivor or a killer, you don't want to get obliterated. And Dead by Daylight, while this data might line up, my problem is it's either feast or famine. You either get worked or you work everybody else. So either I have a big laugh and it's all fun and games and it's great, or I'm getting my butt kicked and I'm not playing well and I'm super frustrated. And so it makes it feel like it's worse than it really is, because it's not like I have like a really close game where I get a 3 kill and then another close game where 2 guys get out. Every now and again, I played a game recently as Wraith where I didn't get any kills, but I actually felt pretty good, because I'm like, no, I think everybody's just played well. And I think if one thing goes differently, if I get this one thing, I even remember I got 360'd one time. And again, when you're on console, getting 360'd happens way more than you would like. I still get 360'd too often, even with that, but I got 360'd one time. And I genuinely think if I don't get 360'd that one time, I get a 4 kill, because I could see the steamroll. Now it's just conjecture. It's just theory. But my point is, very rarely do I have a game like that where I lose, but I'm like, no, but it was so close. Everybody played so well. It was just a well played game. I don't feel like that a whole lot. And what I would like to see is more effort to make each game feel like that game felt, so that I never have a game where I felt like I never had a chance to begin with. I don't want to feel that like that as a survivor, and I don't want to feel like that as a killer. But it does skew your perception. So here's my challenge to all my favorite streamers, to everybody out there. Keep track of your stats. Try it. You don't have to do it with no perks and no add-ons. Before I started the no perks, no add-ons challenge, I would track my stats as a survivor main. And, you know, these are the, you know, this is when I play with my son and my brother. But I don't play a whole lot with them. You can see I played way more games than I played with them. But this is how I do against each killer, and this is how I do on each map. So just try it. Just try it out, and you know, see how you do, see how you compete. I think if you track your stats, and I recently saw Scott Yoon, and I got to give him June. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I really respect him. He mentioned he tracks his stats, and I was like, that's awesome, dude. Show your stats. Like, let me see how you play. Let me see how you compete. Because my challenge is to track your data, because if you track your data, you can have a bad game and look at it and be like, well, you know, I've won 10 games in a row. So I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to be okay with it. Or yeah, I've been on a losing streak, but you know, I'm going to get over it. if you just track your data and you follow it, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to provide yourself consolation. You're going to be able to look at it, see how you do. You're going to know who you don't do well against. You're going to know who you do well against. You're going to like understand that data better, and it'll help you when you're in a rut, or when you're in a losing streak, or you're in a slump. And the other thing you can do is, instead of saying like, no, Sudoku's terrible and I think Dead by Daylight's lying to me, or these stats aren't great, I don't affirm Sudoku is or isn't anything. What I can show is when I play Sudoku, I played her 30 times and I've only gotten out 10 times against her. So her kill rate is pretty much right where Dead by Daylight says it is. And again, I consider myself average at best. So I'm comparing my data against the average data. But if you're tracking your data, then what we can do is we can do real, actual science. We can actually, you can show your data and compare your data against the data, and not just say, well, every time I play or whenever I do, or see this one game, because no one game proves anything. No one person proves anything. Me releasing this data does not say, see, Trapper's good, so, you know, do whatever. At best, it shows Trapper can be good in the hands of someone who understands him. And, you know, to toot my own horn a little bit, I feel like I'm pretty good with Trapper. I feel like after 100 games, I really understand him. And if you give me a perk, like the next, so I'm gonna play 100 games with every killer, no perks, no add-ons. And then I'm going to play 100 games where all I do is pick the map. And I really believe that if I can just pick the map, if I can pick the battleground, I'm going to have a significantly higher rate. But those are theories that I'm going to test with science. I'm going to test not over a day, not over a week, but over time, because that's how science works. So I hope that, you know, it inspires other people. And again, you just track it casually. I play a game, I update my stats, I move on to the next game. It takes like 5 seconds. I try my best to think about like, okay, hey, how many hooks did I have? Or, what map was it? I'm just doing my best to track it as well as I can and keep track of whatever factors. With Trapper, I didn't do anything to find out how long the chases were. And I thought that was good data that I should do that. So with Wraith, I'm tracking how long it takes me to hit him after I see him, how long it takes me to down him after I see him, and how long it takes me to get him on the hook after I see him. If I pursue the chase, if I try, if I do that and I don't break off. So that's my genuine hope. My honest hope with this whole video, with this whole experience, is to really inspire other people to track their data, and just every now and again when you're on a stream, be like, hey, you know, I played this game, hey, it looks like I won this much percentage, or I don't do very well on this map. And then the next time Dead by Daylight releases their stats, you can then compare those stats to your actual stats, so that it's based more on science and less on emotion, less on recall, less on opinion, and more on actual driven data. That's my hope. You can watch me on stream. Usually I'm streaming somewhere between 8:30 and midnight. I don't currently stream games I play with family and friends, because I'm not really working there. I'm just trying to have a good time with my family, which is honestly the main reason I play this game. It's how I spend time with people. My brother lives on the other side of the country, and Survive with Friends gives me a way to spend time with my best friend and my brother that I wouldn't be able to do if I didn't have this opportunity. So that's all for now. Feel free to go to my YouTube channel and watch some of my games, my solo queue games, my 100 no perk games, or go to my stream. The most reliable time, weeknights after 8:30. That's the most reliable time to find me. But this is not my day job. I have a very full, happy life. The streams I do is just a bit of fun. So I'd love to see you there. Love to have a good time. And that's it for me. I'll see you around.